Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Landmark Live. I am your host, Colette Dexella Murphy. Got the regular crew here today.
Hi, I'm Dave.
Hi, I'm Terry.
Hey.
That's Omid.
Hey, I'm Omid. And with me is Jeff. Oh, it's Jeff.
Very nice.
Hi, Jeff. I don't know why he talks when. It's okay. Next thing.
The next thing is you will notice we all have water.
Well, why?
Get it?
Mine's on the ground.
Get it?
Here, hold on.
Oh.
Here we go.
We all have water. So if you have been watching the patch notes today, or if you've gotten a chance to log into games since our servers came back up, oceans are now in game, and we are going to talk about those as well as what else went into today's patch and show you guys a couple quick building tips and tricks. And we're actually going to start off in game because we do have a hotfix coming this afternoon, so we'll notify you about that while basically right as the servers are about to come down. But Dave, you want to transition over and help us start building?
We can do that right away.
Awesome.
Well, look, there's an ant on my world.
Yes, there is dancing.
So what I'm going to show you here, oh, that's great. People are going to start teleporting to me left and right now. Awesome. All right, well, what I'm going to show you is tricks that were found by players. And could you look up that guy's name?
Sure.
Well, because I forgot to bring it.
Yep.
There was a player who discovered a trick which was extremely powerful, which lets you create spheres of any size. And I've set up some preamble stuff here. I'm just going to ignore this Chazor dude that's standing in front of me.
I think his name
there
was
we go.
Darth Vader.
Huh?
Darth Vader was the user's name. Like to build giant spheres.
Yes.
Get it?
Sorry, I was looking for a character because I was way too literal there for a second.
Get it?
Yeah, I get it. It's awesome. All right, so what I'm going to do is basically go into select mode. I preset up a couple of points here that I can just grab from. You select any space as long as it's a cube. It has to be the same number of voxels on each side. So there's 75 voxels on a side. And then what you do is you switch over to, say, like a cube mode, because that's what I want to do is put a cube in here. And then when you're about to click on the selection volume, you just hold shift down like you're going to go into tweak mode. And that's all you do. And then once the handles show up down here, you just drag them around and look, ta-da, spheres of any size. And then when you hit the check mark, there's your sphere.
It takes a lot of resources.
Takes a lot of resources because that's a solid sphere. But you can do that with not just the add tool, you can also do it with the delete tool, you can do it with the paint function, so on and so forth. Now I'm going to undo that real quick because I want some of the dirt resources left. And I wanted to show you what the smallest sphere looks like. This is a 3x3. You do the same kind of methods that you did before, and then you get this little sphere. Now when you make a sphere that's this small, it doesn't look very good. And this was why originally we didn't allow this to happen. Is because you got this kind of dodecahedron kind of look to the D&D role-playing dice sort of feel.
Little sphere.
Yeah, you suck, little sphere. But we didn't allow that because we were worried that Minecraft people would be they need a grid to feel good about how they're playing the game, make it feel comfortable, so on and so forth. And we realize now that that was just not really good thinking, or at least it's not good in hindsight. And so what we're going to do is eventually, not right away, but eventually, we're going to set up the cube and the sphere tools so that basically you can smoothly roll up and down the scale on those so that you're not locked into like 1, 3, 9, 27 or 1, 2, 3, 4 like you are right now. So we're going to get rid of a lot of that weirdness. Now there's also one other thing I wanted to show you. You are not limited to just cubes and just spheres. You can also use these other shapes, although honestly I'm not sure why you need to use these other shapes. It's kind of cool that you can, and just to show you, I can come in here and set up oops, what did I, oh, too much dirt. Oh, that's because I changed the size. Hang on just a second. So there we go. So click, drag, put that over here, and there we go. So now I have, in theory,
I saw it.
There we go. So it's just way off screen. Now this is not a feature that we developed. This is one you guys found, so it still has some bugs in it. And one of the bugs is the selection arrows appear somewhere else. But when you put that down, now you've got a sloped block, just like
giant slope.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll just load that up again. All right. So
I did find his name. Kalidar had posted that on the forums with a video of building the multi-sized sphere. So thank you so much for sharing that with us on the forums. Kalidar. That was awesome.
And his name is Bryson, right? His forum is...
his forum handle is Kalidar.
Oh, okay.
That's who had posted it.
His Twitter handle.
His Twitter handle?
I do that all the time.
Yeah. All right, well, while
I'm
you're...
just going to jump back into the game real quick because I'm almost there already. Yep. The other thing that we wanted to show you was an easy way to duplicate props. Yes. Now, previously, it was on a certain key, and what we're going to do now is show you that we moved it. It's not gone. That functionality, people were worried that it was missing after today's update. What actually happened was we changed the key functionality. Right. Oh, good. This gigantic slope block is now not undoable. Awesome. All right, well, anyway, I'll get that later. Huh?
It's beta.
I did want to show you this feature over here. You can use the delete tool to make spheres also. So if you look in here, what you have is a smoothed, hollowed out sphere that was 75 by 75 by 75. So you folks that know how to build real well, you're going to have a lot of fun with this, arches, all kinds of different things. Now, if you to make it smooth on the outside and on the inside, it has to be at least a 2 width difference on each side. So for instance, this was 75 on a side for the outer one. In order to make it smooth on the inside, it had to be 8 voxels smaller so that it could be 2 voxels wide on each side. If you don't, if it's only 1 voxel on each side, you get this crazy pattern here. And the reason why I'm showing this to you is there's all kinds of weird, useful little patterns in here that people might want to screw around with. You can make these kind of sound baffle looking wall things, or it's just whatever you want.
Just like a honeycomb.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were watching. I know some people here tuned into EQ2 Insider earlier. It reminds me of like if you want to do something that's Bixie themed. Yeah, like the Bixies.
That's true. That definitely very reminiscent of honeycomb.
And then the other thing I wanted to show real quick is oh, that's right, the keys changed. Well, first of all, in case you don't know already, Shift plus Tab has now been changed to tilde, which is causing us a lot of problems, and we're really sorry about the fact that we didn't think about the international keyboards ahead of time. We will fix that. For right now, just watch the forums and we'll post whatever workarounds and solutions that we come up with.
One of the ones you found on Twitter?
Yeah, some of the players, if you look at some of our Twitters, they are actually they're announcing which keys they found work for it. So in the interim, you can take a look at that, and we'll try to put them all together and get them into a forum post so that people can see all of that. But the one I saw was for, somebody said, I think on a Swedish keyboard. It was, unfortunately, I don't know the name of the key. It was an O with what looked like 2 dots over it, or an umlaut of some variety. That was what they said worked on a Swedish keyboard. So
if you're in Sweden, you're covered.
Yeah.
So we are gathering all of those. If you happen to find one, please make sure you're tweeting them at one of us or at Landmark Game, posting it on the forum so that we can compile that list together.
The last thing is, if you're actually decorating a lot and you're putting a lot of props down, or if you are say like, how do you say your name, Tale?
It's Taellaa.
Say her name. But anyway, if you're one of those people that works with props a lot, this is an extremely handy thing, which is being able to hold down Control. Go into adjust mode, and then hold down Control. And when you hold down Control and drag, you're essentially duplicating the object, and you can duplicate it as many times as you have those objects in your inventory. Yeah. So it's really easy to duplicate and lay stuff out very easily, very organized. You can also do this from the point where you lay it down in the first place.
Yeah, yeah. When you're placing it, if you hit Control in place,
it's pronounced Taellaa.
Taellaa. Okay. Sorry, Taellaa. But you are the prop master. All right, so
if you hold Control while you're clicking, you can place multiples down.
Yeah, so I can just Control, and just be able to move that stuff around.
Yeah, and for everybody's reference, that Control on original placement has always been there, just not everybody didn't know about it. And then we had a difference between the 2 placement modes. It used to be Shift when you were in adjust mode, and it was Control in place mode, which is why we made the change. Yeah. We wanted to bring them both into the same key so that no matter how you're manipulating props, it works the same way.
And then the last thing I just wanted to show everybody is, yay, look, claim boundaries are on the banner now. So
yes,
you can click this and be able to see the claim boundaries, and they're no longer those big blue things. It's much simpler, easier to see through. You can take screenshots that don't look god-awful now, which is cool. All good things. Yeah. And then to turn it off, you just go back. Oops, you have to go on there. You go back up
you
here
have to be on it.
Be able to come on, there we go. Hit the button. Woohoo, it's like a game. Anyway, so that's it. That's the in-game build stuff that we wanted to show you this week.
One thing, since you are really close by, can we just run and see your view now?
Oh, right, my island. Well, I just claimed this, so there's nothing really sexy on it yet. But you can see lots of water.
Yeah, you can see the water out there, which is one of the big things that went into the update for this week.
And there's that giant sign I tweeted out earlier.
Yeah.
I was going to run to the other side of the island because it's actually a little bit cooler, but we can talk.
So your island worked out?
Yeah, well, we can talk a little bit.
It did. It worked out pretty well.
Awesome.
So this is the way the island looks now. I thought it was going to be scooped in here. I thought this beach was going to be more cut out, so I'm a little bit higher and drier than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, it works really well.
Well, that's why you put down some of your attachment claims and you can get a little closer to the water.
Well, I'm out of attachment claims. I'm thinking about releasing the one over here so I can put more over here.
Yeah.
But that means I'll get a neighbor.
Right. So obviously, Oceans, one of the big things that went out this week. It is. I wanted to be clear with everybody. This is phase 1 of Oceans. We tried to be very clear in the update notes, but right now swimming isn't in. You can't go underwater. You actually walk on the top of water. You can't build with water. You can't select it as a material. We made a note about it. You can try to select it, and it'll tell you that that's a material that you can't build with. Please bug it. You don't need to bug it. We know that you can't use water right now. That's intended. But you know, we got a little surprise to show you as soon as we're done going through all these notes about building with water. That's really kind of cool.
Actually, you want to do that now?
Yeah, we can. Do we have the video? Can we go to that?
Right.
So we actually found this yesterday. Eric, Mr. Smith, he was playing around with it late last night when we were verifying everything with the update. And
this is a bug.
Yeah, this is a bug. It's not intended, but he basically painted water on the building. And so obviously you can see there are issues with this, but it looked cool enough that we wanted to show you. This wasn't intended. We didn't even think about this application of it, but it's pretty awesome.
Oh, awesome. It's really cool.
You know? So, you know, obviously, eventually we'll get to the point where water is a resource that you can place and pick up and things like that. But we're not quite there yet, but we wanted to show you this because it's just too cool.
It's the kind of thing we will be able to do, and it's down the line a little ways.
Yeah. And this was one of those things, much like you guys, I mean, with the duplication and everything, or the sphere with the selection brush, it wasn't intended functionality, right? It's just the way these powerful tools work together, and sometimes we get bizarre side effects, much like that. So we found something, much like the players have found things as they played the game, which is, it's just fun to see. And I remember Eric on the floor, he was like, "You gotta see this," and everybody came running. You know, so it's a lot of fun.
We lost a good half hour to that building.
Yeah.
I ran off into my office making little microvoxel things and painting them to see what they did. And
we're like, "What did you do? How did you do that?"
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. So we talked a little bit about water and the fact that this is just phase 1. Oceans are phase 1 of water, and this is still just phase 1 of oceans. So we're gonna be continuing to work on that and adding things like I mentioned, like swimming, you know, sound so you're not walking on the surface, all those kinds of things.
And Mr. Smith, if you are watching, we are done with the live servers. It's okay to go with the hotfix.
So this is a good point to announce this. Guys, we need to do a hotfix today.
Yes.
So we're going to go through the update notes, and then we'll also talk about the things that are going in with this fix.
Right.
But this means that within the next few minutes, probably pretty soon, the servers are going to come down for a fix. So they will be offline for a while. So hang out, talk to us. Omid's watching chat, and we'll be here with you guys until at least 5. So
so we'll go through the rest of the update notes now, just so that we can talk about some of the things.
Yep.
We made a ton of crafting and harvesting changes. These are all in line trying to make the game friendlier and more understandable. And so we're going to continue doing this through all of closed beta as we see things that need to be adjusted, but this was a pretty big one. I'm not going to go through the list of everything, but a lot of it was around...
That's why we post them.
Yeah, so, but there are a lot of crafting and harvesting changes that went in to make things just simpler, easier to understand, more intuitive, things like that. And by the way, unfortunately I also forgot to bring the name. We appreciate all the feedback from everybody because we mentioned in the update notes that we were removing idols as one of the components, and one of the players tweeted me, or actually I think they sent me a personal message on the forums that said, hey, by the way, you can still get idols in the sifter bags. And so we had just missed one piece of data that was still referencing those. So that's actually one of the things that's going into the hotfix today, is we pulled those out of there so it's not confusing. We intended on making cross-world parties grouping possible with this update today.
And it will be
and it will be
right after this hotfix.
Which is the real reason we had to do the main reason that we had to do the hotfix. We realized that we forgot to bring up one of the processes in the background, what we call the group server that handles all of this logic. We failed to start it up when we brought the worlds up. It was a new server. It was just an oversight when we did the update today. So we have to bring the worlds down in order to get that out there and to get that running so that everything can talk to it.
I think most of you would be surprised how many machines constitute a single world.
Yeah, yeah. It's always funny. I've mentioned it to other people that I play tons of MMOs, always have, and listening to people talk when updates are going on, like, why can't this happen in 10 minutes, or why isn't this faster? I'm like, a lot of people just don't understand that we're talking about, sometimes when I was the lead programmer on EQ, it was a great example, right? When we did an update, it was hundreds of boxes that needed updated code or data. And so it's not just like, oh, we just got to push this one file and everything's good. It's like, it has to make it out to so many different computers, and if you miss one, it causes problems. So you have to do all this double checking and everything. And so it's a complicated thing. We messed up today. We're fixing it, and then cross-server groups will work.
Yeah, it's a funny thing too. Like, I can't remember who it was. We were talking about all access and how that went last week, and we know it wasn't perfect. But one of the things that got said, it was a great quote, is this is really hard, right? If it wasn't hard, then it would be easy. Like, we have some of the smartest people in the industry here working on it, and the fact that things, take this amount of time is because they take this amount of time,
Right.
And it sounds a little bit trite, but it's true, right? Like, we have an incredibly talented team. They're doing things as fast as is humanly possible, and it just takes time. We have to do it right, and every time we screw it up, right, it impacts so many people that we want to take the time and get it right. We don't always do it, but we try.
Yeah. So some of the other things, we made some changes to the menus. We've added a help icon. We rearranged some of the icons on the start bar and on the bottom left part of the UI to make it clearer and easier for players to use it. We added some new props, 5 of them in particular related to the oceans.
So excited.
We added
the seashells.
The seashells and the starfish were the ones we did. We thought it was very thematic.
Saw them in the desert now. Put them in your house.
For all the people out there who have been making like crazy tiki bar themed places, I want to see what you do with these props.
Right.
I feel like they're going to make a really good addition to those builds, give it that extra nautical feel, so I'm excited.
Yeah, and then we've also, because we've started, over time we've added more and more props, we also added a categorization or a sorting sort of thing for the current props that are out there. So that's just to make it easier for you to find the things that you're looking for. It starts off, let me get this right. So the chests are first, then non-interactive props, then interactive or animated props, and then light sources. Those are the order that they'll show up, so it's a little easier for you to find them in the UI. And we'll continue to refine that as we move forward. We know that it's going to get harder and harder as we add more and more to find the things you're looking for. So we're going to continue to improve that.
And that was actually one of the questions I know somebody had asked in the forum in the Landmark Live thread about when are we going to be able to have more organization in props, and the answer is starting today with today's patch.
All right. There are 2 things that I want to mention from the update.
Okay.
2 things that get me constantly while I'm trying to play the build. One of them is the showcase icon is those little spotlights down in the lower left corner now. So you're not looking for that little shopping cart icon anymore. You're looking for spotlights, and it's a little bit shifted over.
Right.
And there's also a real cool little help tab there, but we'll get to that later.
Yep.
Then the other thing to remember is that tilde key. So we have moved it from Shift plus Tab to change your mode to hitting the tilde key or whatever the equivalent is, and we'll be posting a list of that stuff.
Yes.
But those are the 2 big things that if you build a lot, those are the gotchas.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit of time to retrain your muscle memory for what those 2 things are. We added a couple of things to the showcase. People mentioned the fact that some of our plants weren't purchasable on the showcase.
Oh, right. So you can make recipes like pillows and things like that.
Right. So we added those to go along with all the other resources that are on there. And then the next one was exactly what Dave just mentioned, which was changing from Shift Tab to the left quote key, which is also the tilde on a US keyboard.
We'll just post a list.
Yeah. So we changed that. We've also, for the camera, we changed it so that you can rotate you can zoom the camera out farther than you previously did.
Way back.
It's a lot farther out now, and that's really, we did that so that when you're placing large templates and things like that, it's a little easier to see exactly where it's going to be, because before it was in too close and it was really tough to get a feel for that. So now it can go a lot farther out.
But what I like it for is taking pictures of claims for the galleries.
You can actually,
because now you can get your camera back far enough to be able to see your stuff without the LOD swapping.
Right. Yeah, so that's a really good thing that also went in with this one. And then you showed off the claim changes, which were that you can turn the boundaries on and off in the claim dropdown, as well as the fact that we've changed the claim boundary graphic. And then we fixed a number of bugs. My favorite of which is the fact that now when you hit R, it actually populates the chat message with reply and the person's name, because previously, if you hit R, it would go to the last person that sent you a tell, including if somebody sent you a tell while you were typing it out.
So all the people that chat with me every single night, you're going to get a lot less mistells now.
Yes. So that's a really good one. There were a few other ones.
Which may be less fun in that case.
No, it'll be a lot more fun for me.
Good for everybody.
All right.
It's like, oh, mistel. Sorry, it's a mistel.
Sorry, that went to
Tab
somebody
up,
else.
type the name.
So for the things that are going to the hotfix, there were a couple of things that people got to us very quickly about that we were able to get in with the bounce that we needed to do for the group server stuff. And a couple of those I wanted to mention. One, we removed the idles from the sifter bags, so those won't be going out accidentally anymore. We were obviously fixing the group issues so that you'll be able to create groups again. And then the third one is that previously there was a requirement on the Tier 5 sifter recipe for Silkfall.
All right.
That was just an accident in the data. It wasn't supposed to be on there. People have complained that they can't make it. We've removed it, and that'll be going out with the update that we're doing right now as well. So you'll actually be able to make that one. And a more general note is that all of the plant resources or requirements on the sifter recipes were supposed to be removed. This was the only one we found that didn't actually have it removed, but that was the intention, and it'll be fixed.
Yep.
So that's what's going out in the bounce that should be going on right now. Yeah, the hotfix.
Awesome.
All right, so I think that covers everything about the update notes and the hotfix. So
I think we're safe from Friday hotfix.
we might be safe from a Thursday one.
We might not even have a Thursday hotfix
because we had a Wednesday one.
Sometimes the fates just align.
Yes.
So, I guess we'll switch back over. We had started with our in-game stuff because we needed the hotfix to happen. So we're going to go back to some things we were going to talk about at the top of the show. One is, previously we had mentioned, I think it was on 2 weeks ago, we had told you guys about the EQ Worlds app and how there was an update coming with a Landmark Live specific quest line, as well as a new Landmark themed minigame. Omid, what's the minigame called?
Oh, well, Mineral Match.
Mineral Match.
Mineral
Yes.
I called it the wrong thing earlier and got yelled at.
Yeah, you called it Mineral Swap,
Something.
which we crossed off the board as like the first one.
Noob.
I know.
And Colette usually is the best person at naming things too.
I didn't name this
Yeah,
one.
so
That's
what
why
the
I don't
heck,
know what the
Colette?
name is.
What are you saying about the name, Colette? That it's
The
bad?
name is excellent. So anyway, later in the stream, we're going to be showing you an image on the screen. So if you have the EQ Worlds app on your phone or on your tablet, when that image comes up on the screen, you can scan it. As you progress through that quest line, when you get to the end, you get an in-game reward. So make sure you're tuning in every week to watch, and then you can scan the images, and then you can get a cool thing.
And this app has done well since we started it last year at SOE Live.
Yeah.
It's continued to grow, so if you haven't downloaded it yet, I would actually advise downloading it. It looks like we're going to be using this for a while.
Yeah.
And we've been continually making improvements too. So if you checked it out at SOE Live, it was super bare bones. I mean, it was
the very
touch
first
and
release.
go, right? Like we were debating the day of SOE Live whether or not we would set it to live,
Right.
just because stuff was still like not completely in there, not quite working perfectly,
Little bit sketchy.
Yeah, a little bit sketchy, but that's okay. It's one of those things. Much like this game, it's going to keep growing, keep evolving. We've added games. There's actually 2 new mini games. There's Mineral Match and Ever Guess, which is a really solidly named game. It completely makes up for Mineral Swap. But no, they're awesome,
name
right?
that one, Colette?
There's now
I think he did.
No, I didn't either. I can't remember who did. Whoever did it was clearly a genius.
Yes.
Oh wait, it was me. No, it wasn't. It wasn't me. Yeah, no. But I mean, you can watch YouTube videos, and this works for all the franchise too. Did we want to show the video? We have the video, right?
We have a video, right?
Do we have the video?
Yeah, we're gonna
Let's show the video.
Check it out.
There's
and
a video.
download while you're watching the video.
Yeah, download it.
Download it.
We're coming back.
Oh,
And we're back.
Right in mid-sentence.
that app is available on Android and on the App Store.
Yeah.
It is not available on Windows Phone because we hate you if you own a Windows phone.
No, that's not
That's
true.
not why.
Oh, that's true. That's not why. The reason was that Windows Phone doesn't have a tremendous amount of market share, and we, you know, we didn't do it.
So it's not that we hate him, it's just that we don't care about him? Is that what you said?
I'm pretty sure what he is trying to say is hashtag blame Omid 2014. That's what he's saying. This is entirely Omid's fault.
Oh, so
The end.
one thing that I noticed, Dave, not to change the subject.
Oh boy, you're trying to get buried. Here comes that bus.
Yeah, the bus is coming. No, so I thought it was really interesting that we changed Shift Tab.
Right.
Because that, to me, is a great combination of keys.
Oh, right, why?
Why did you do that?
Well, because we don't like Shift Tab.
Oh.
Wait, no, we don't care about Shift Tab. Is
Windows Phone
is that what I learned
Shift
from you?
Tab doesn't have enough market
It doesn't have enough market research. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So the answer is that we're actually going to be releasing on Steam.
Well, we're going to make the game available on
Yeah.
Steam. So it's going to be available basically the same way that it's available right now.
Right.
It'll just be in the face of a lot more people. So instead of them having to find the EQ and Landmark, or sorry, the Landmark the game.
.com.
Website.
They can now go to Steam and find those same Founders Packs options and be able to buy into the closed beta and be able to play with the rest of us.
Right. And
so that'll be available next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for those of you that haven't used Steam or played Steam games, Shift Tab is how you bring up an overlay from them. So it was a conflict in our controls that we needed to fix.
And it was also just a really bad key combination. So we wanted to get rid of it anyway, and this was a good excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so to go back to the app,
Yes.
now that we've made the most important announcement of the show. So we're going to put up a thing, which Colette said, every week on Landmark Live, a little icon, which maybe we could do now. And you're going to scan this icon with the app, and you're going to get a like quest accepted sort of thing. And you remember last week or the week before, we told you that lunar anklets are gone forever, and there was only going to be one more way to get them. Well, if you complete this quest, you can get lunar anklets. And we did that because we knew not everyone got one. It was actually super limited distribution. So you can complete this quest, which is a pretty tough quest because you have to listen to us talk like 8 times, I think.
Yep.
Or fast forward through the live stream.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. There is a
never want to do that.
There is a mute button, I've learned. You can use that if you want. But yeah, so it's a pretty tough quest to complete because you got to listen to us talk 8 times, and you know, I have to listen to these guys talk several times a day, and it's pushing me to the edge.
It's too hard for you. There's no way you could possibly beat it. It can't be done.
We're thinking that there might be 5 people in the entire world that will finish this quest.
Yeah,
and
we'll
you
see.
Could be one of them, but I doubt it. I really doubt you all.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
no.
prove me wrong, people.
I'm pretty sure those are gauntlets just being pulled left and right.
You'll notice
seriously,
none of us are wearing gauntlets anymore.
In my opinion, this is the best reason to download EverQuest Worlds ever. EverWorlds.
Yeah.
Sorry, one of those names.
It's EverQuest Worlds.
Everworlds, I like that better.
Yeah.
That thing, the phone app.
Yes. And so when you actually go into the app, and it's app or tablet, if you have a tablet, you can put it on there. There's quest lines as well as mini games. You go into quest lines, at the bottom of the list it says Landmark Live. That's the one, the image that we just showed, and if you missed it, you'll have to go back through and watch us all over again to find it. Just when it's up on screen, you can take your phone or your tablet, you'll scan the image, and it will unlock the first level. So you'll have 1 of 8 after today.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
You're 1/8 of the way to a lunar anklet.
And it's fun. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
So folks in chat are saying that the app is broken, which is, of course it is.
Is it?
We literally just tested it right before the show.
I scanned it and I'm having a request timed out connection problem. I'm pretty sure you all are crashing it.
Yeah,
Sweet.
You guys might be crashing it.
In your attempt to prove Dave and Omid wrong.
Oh, you mean we got more than 2 concurrent users?
Yeah, it is run by a very sickly server hamster.
Should have on a Windows phone.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
We should have put it just on Windows Phone.
Harsh.
Ouch. All the Windows Phone users out there are offended.
Yeah, then
Okay,
it would
I
be
don't see
running,
any
but
complaints.
nobody would know. We're going to hell, you know.
I give up. I give up. And just for that, I am not going to be here next week.
Yeah. So guys, if you're not able to do it, most likely it's just a server issue. Just try again. You know, we'll post the video up on YouTube. I'm sure some intrepid genius will pull the icons out and make a YouTube video to just cheat and let you guys all download it really quickly.
Or a forum post, or a
put it
Reddit
on
page, or
and
We're on to you.
yeah.
we know it's
cool
going to
with
happen.
So yeah, sorry about that. It does look like you busted the server. We'll figure out what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
We literally just tested it, so we think it's probably a server issue.
We know it worked,
yes.
and it will work again.
I'm
We have the
1/8
technology.
we will rebuild.
We will rebuild.
Okay, that was embarrassing. What's next?
Let's talk about Landmarks of Landmark. Today's the last day of the first competition, last day of submission. So remember, you have until 11:59 p.m. Pacific time tonight to get those submitted, and then we are going to begin internal judging tomorrow.
Yes.
Yep.
I have the meeting in my calendar to do it.
Yes.
And
Cool.
looking forward to it.
We have there's, what did you say? There's a little bit less than 800.
Well, it was less than 800 the day before yesterday.
and we
on
got
Tuesday.
a lot of
And I know there's
submissions
a lot of-
today.
Yeah,
A
so
lot of
it's
them.
going to be interesting to see how many we
Probably
end up
over
with.
1,000 now.
I would
So
bet.
we've got a lot of submissions to go through, which means we're all going to sit in a big ring around a big, gigantic, huge screen, and we're going to throw things at the ones we don't like, and we're going to cheer and applaud for the ones that we do, and then we'll start plunking down. We'll take the templates that you guys submitted and plunking them down in the world, so we can actually wander through them and check them out and see the things that we like and don't like, and that's how we'll go about picking the winners. We're also going to make sure that we pick like a bunch of them from fantasy, a bunch of them from modern, a bunch of them from sci-fi,
As
'cause
varied as we can.
We want representative samples all the way throughout the world, and so that's how we're going to be doing it. It's going to take us a while to get all these contests reviewed, because we don't want to just throw darts at a dartboard. We want to be able to pick the things that are going to be really cool for the game. So it's going to take us a little bit. Expect to hear results as soon as we make them, but it might take us like a week or so.
Yeah. But I can say that, I mean, we've been watching the submissions over the entire week since it's been opened, and there's some amazing stuff in there.
Just astounding. I didn't even want to start talking about them because I don't want to play favorites, but some of them are just
I already know that
mind-boggling.
I've already seen more than a handful of ones that are like, oh, I know that's going in.
Yeah,
You know, it's so easy to see.
I'm so glad, because when we first started talking about the contest, we were saying like, oh, we'll have 10 winners or we'll have 20 winners. And then we decided, no, like everyone is on pass fail. Like, like unless there are 450 winners, right, we're not going to have to say anyone gets bumped for anyone else.
Right.
Which is so good, because just like Terry, right, I've seen so many of them where I'm like, this has to be one. Like, this has to be one.
I think that's going to end up being the hardest part probably for judging the competition. It's when you say like, oh, you know, sort of jokingly that we'll put them all up on a screen and throw stuff at the ones we don't like. We're not going to have much stuff to throw. Is I think going to be our issue. It's going to be like, these are all awesome. Unless did you?
No, I saw. I saw a few.
Everything I saw, we'll throw things at.
Oh, there we go.
We're modeling our entire competition judging after that scene in Animal House where they're selecting the pledges. That's exactly what we're going for.
Yeah, and we're inviting Otter.
Nice.
Who lives here somewhere. Otter, if you're watching this.
Otter, if you're watching this.
We have a meeting tomorrow at 5. We'd love you to come by.
Yes.
So I know there were some issues people had posted about things missing from the gallery, and there were a couple different things that happened. And one was sometimes it was just lag. People would submit and it would
immediately check
immediately, and it hadn't appeared in the gallery yet. So make sure you go back and check. Most people who I talked to, I sent messages back and forth on the forums, were replying back to me today saying it eventually did show up, so it should be there.
We apologize. Today was a terrible day for it, but the sorting stopped working, so you couldn't sort by creator name, and it made it really hard to check your stuff. That's being fixed right now. It should be fixed momentarily, and when it's up and running, you'll be able to sort through that stuff and find your stuff really easily.
Right.
And the other one was there was an issue, I believe, over the weekend where people would search certain terms and it ended up taking them to claims rather than the content.
Actually, it was true across the board. So if you'd select the landmark of landmarks and then try to search, it would actually take you back to the gallery.
It wasn't actually taking you back to the gallery. You never left the gallery. It was searching in the gallery.
It was searting everything.
I know that's a semantic thing,
right.
But I mean, like there wasn't a contest section. So to prevent that from being an issue in the future, the web team is working on separating that out as a competition section.
Yes.
So there will be 3 buttons up there instead of 2. So you'll have exchange, gallery, and then competitions.
Yeah. So again, these were visual bugs, so it wasn't necessarily that things were missing. It was just not appearing or.
And it was confusing. You know, you'd think, oh, I can't find mine because it was looking in the claims instead of in the templates or something.
The next competition should be pretty slick.
Yeah.
Once because we essentially worked through the foibles this time around. The next one should be nice and clean.
And we do appreciate all of you reporting these issues to us, because it is going to help us make the next one better. But I think most people would probably agree this one's gone pretty smooth, and we've gotten some amazing stuff.
Especially for the first time this company has ever tried to do something like this. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
So something brand new for us. So we expected there to be problems, and there were fewer than we expected.
Very few.
So some folks have asked, because today's the last day for the contest.
Yes.
Right? What is the actual cutoff?
It's midnight, or it's 11:59 tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
59.
Pacific time.
Pacific time.
Yes. So in our time zone, 11:59:59.
So about.
Was it 7 hours and 18 minutes? Yeah. So that's how much longer we have for anybody to put a submission.
Everybody that's watching this knows how to use Google, and you can just look up the time change.
Yep. Yeah. Just look up what time is it in San Diego, and if it says it's tomorrow, it's too late.
Yeah.
You can also use Bing if you're on a Windows phone.
Oh, well done, sir. Nice reference.
Bill Gates is going to call us after this show. I know it's going to happen.
Clive?
What's up with the dissing?
Okay.
Why? You guys make PC games, don't you?
We do run on Windows.
He's going to shut off all our PCs.
Yeah.
He's got that button in his office.
Now we have to build on Linux. Thanks.
Yeah. All right.
Hashtag BlameOmead 2014.
Yes.
All right, so yeah, again, get those entries in, and we are very much looking forward to judging the competition.
Yes,
starting tomorrow.
So. Oh yeah.
All right, what is next on our list? Oh,
questions.
Yeah, a few questions. One, we were talking a little bit about oceans, and this is something that had came up in chat earlier. For those of you who were in the stream before the show started,
totally should have tweeted a Billy Ocean song.
Oh,
nice.
Your tweets yesterday were pretty good.
Yeah.
This one came up. It says, the oceans are great, but the rippling water effect on the map makes us all seasick. Can you make it stop?
So
that was from Brass. Brass pulled that from the channel if she's still watching. Hi, Linda. So yeah, when you see SOE employees in chat during even pre-stream, we are pulling your questions and getting them sent to us.
And the high-tech way in which we pass them around on a Post-it note. Which works great.
Digital Post-it note.
Yes. But the answer is that it's not feedback that we'd heard from the people who'd seen it. So we're going to take a look at that. I don't know the answer to whether or not we can turn it on or off during the map mode, but I'll go back to the guys and I'll ask Ken, who's working on the shader.
We're only gonna make that change after we do an extensive focus test where we bring in kids and make them look at the map and count how many of them puke.
Yes, how many actual get seasick.
We probably need to A/B test that too.
Yes.
That way we can make the maximum number of children nauseous. In the meantime, Dramamine, come on.
Anyway, we'll take a look at it. We'll see if it's possible, and if it is, then we'll add it in there because we don't want to make people seasick. That's the last thing we're aiming for.
Focus test ever.
And technically, I believe it's ocean sick. It's not seasick because we didn't put in seas, we put in oceans.
So I just got a text from Adam Key, who's one of the brand managers on the EverQuest franchise. He says he heard from the app people the server exploded when literally all of you tried to.
Well done.
So good job. We needed a stress test, and now we've had one.
Yes, and now it's stressed.
Yes, it's stressed.
Do it again.
Yes.
So again, more high-tech question submissions. And this is a future competition question. When Player Studio is available in Landmark, will templates purchased be usable in competitions?
Sure.
Yep.
And I mean, that's just a yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes, but we will credit the people. We've talked about the fact that people will get credited if they helped you build it. If it's like a communal build or something like that.
5% or more contribution.
Yeah, 5% or more contribution. If somebody does that and it's from the Player Studio templates, they will get credit.
We'll use the same kind of criteria.
Yeah.
If the Player Studio template constitutes 5% or more.
Yep.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. If the person that you're using the template from has 5% or more voxels in your creation.
Yes.
Right. Because it could be that you used one of their templates and they built some other stuff in there, or you might have used their template a bunch of different times, and then it equals up to at least 5% of the whole, then they would get credit.
And I know one of the things that people had mentioned, and I realize this is a worst case scenario, but we see what goes in Player Studio and we see what goes in the competition. So yes, if somebody submits an entire castle and you just take it and try to submit it, we're going to know what you were doing.
Yes.
And that wouldn't if you contributed 0 voxels, 100% of the credit would be going to the other person.
You can't actually
that won't be
legally. You can't contribute 0 voxels.
Yeah,
so you're going to have to add something to it.
Yep.
So you'll be able to use them, but again, that person will get credit on the plaque or however we give credit in game.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
All right, so this is from Bridie on the forums, I think, unless I mistypoed that and it's Birdie, either way.
Bridie.
Being that caves will possess all the ore and stone nodes that are now occupying the surface area.
Almost all.
Almost all. So that's
clarification, it won't be all of them.
Will there be enough caves to accommodate all of our needs with enough nodes? That's hard to say. Or will we be competing for the nodes?
No, the idea is that they're going to be distributed in the way we want them to be, the density and at the rarities that we want them to be, which are what you're seeing right now on the surface. Now, they will be a little harder to find because they won't all be on the surface. Some of them will be in the caves and you'll have to go find them. But we have some really cool ideas for how you can do that as well.
Well, sure. I mean, we've made no secret about the fact that there's going to be resource detection.
Yes.
So that you're going to be able to find resources out there in the world and know what general directions of where to go and how to dig towards them. So, yeah, there will probably be more competition for the readily visible nodes.
Sure.
Because when everybody's running through these cave networks, that's of course a lot less volume than is on the surface of the world.
Yeah.
Now it's a as Steve is fond of saying, it's an n-cubed thing, not an n-squared thing. So because
we just did really hard math, and it made Omid cry.
I heard the marketing guy's brain. Love you.
Sorry. Go on.
So it's a volume thing. So of course there's a lot more caverns down there, and if you summed all the volume of space that's there, it might actually be fairly comparable. But at the very least, you're going to feel like you're running into a lot more people because they're funneling through these little areas. They're not just spreading out randomly. That is until they have resource detection, and then they can just start burrowing off with their pulverizers, which is why we suggested last week that you get some legendary pulverizers going.
And we'll be continuing to balance and tweak this as people get to see it and they play with it, and we see how hard it is to get the resources. Again, it's in beta. You know, we're going to continue to iterate on this, so don't worry if on the first time you're like, I can't find anything. You know, we'll continue to watch and adjust as what makes sense so that everybody can find things at the rate that we would like people to find them stuff. So.
We always want to make sure there's at least one burled wood in the game.
Just one.
Just always.
Actually, we really don't want that at all, but it keeps happening.
It's really good to have it happen in closed beta, because then we get really good music videos and like parody songs written.
Yeah, but
as long as we fix it all.
I didn't get an elemental rubicite one, and that's the one that was bugging me last time.
That's true.
Guys.
Too hard to say. It's too hard to put that in a song.
That's true.
Prove me wrong, people.
No. The thing I want to know is, what do you rhyme with elemental rubicite?
Elemental dubicite. It's a dubstep song.
It's a dubstep. Nice. Well done, sir.
He's writing it for you.
Wait
Get
for the
on
drop
that.
of minerals.
Yes. All right. And we had one more question?
Yes. So Thodian mentioned that ley lines were no longer specifically called out on the blueprint. What is the status of that?
Right.
Oh, well, it's not that they are not called out. That's absolutely accurate. But it wasn't that we forgot them or deleted them. We're still doing all that stuff. There was a bunch of stuff that I didn't include in the blueprint because they weren't major systems. The ley line system is going to be really important, especially for moving through the caves.
Right.
And being able to get, because you don't always have to dig all the way down there each time. So you're going to want to be able to bop around on that stuff. That'll be coming in, some of that will be coming in approximately with the caves.
Well, yeah, it's definitely part of the various stages of caves, and that was a great example. Ley lines is a great example of that. Oftentimes, when we're looking at the big systems, we also include all of the smaller systems that we're going to be doing along with them.
Like resource detection is part of caves.
Right, exactly. And resource detection is important,
critical for
and
caves.
it's a big deal, but we don't call it out separately on the roadmap. The blueprint. When we change names, it takes me years. Sorry, I'm slow.
2016, Terry will be calling it the blueprint.
Yes, no, the blueprint, and so we don't call them out specifically, but it doesn't mean that they're gone, and it doesn't mean that they're not going to be coming in over the next few months or when we're calling it out. It's just if we called out every single thing that we're working on there, it would be. I mean, it's already this huge mass of information, and it would have been double, triple, quadruple the amount of stuff. So.
And I think since we are talking about the blueprint, you had tweeted, I believe Monday, you made a couple of adjustments in the post. Was that this week?
Oh yeah, I just made some.
They were like minor, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was today.
Oh.
So I made some
all run together.
Edits to the blueprint today, where we basically, let's see, caves is going to be shown publicly for the very first time next week. But it's to a very exclusive little group, and we're doing it for a special press event. It'll come to the live servers a little bit later than that, and so it's not going to make the middle of the month like we were originally intending. And then Player Studio, we realized there were some feature enhancements we wanted to do before we rolled it out, and that added some time, so it's going to be a little bit closer to the end of the month also.
Right.
And actually the event that Dave just mentioned is why, well, that and Omid's window phone bashing is why these guys won't be here next week. Is because they will be up at that event.
Yeah, so. when I was joking about not being here next week, we actually won't be here next week. You know, at least Dave and I are going to be up in LA for that. So
showing off the game.
Yeah.
Omid, do you have any questions? Any other updates, topics?
Oh yes, I have numerous questions.
Oh, good.
So. One of the questions was from Shilldog, says, if I delete my character, will I get my lunar anklets back on my new character?
Yes.
Really?
Hold on.
Yeah, lunar. Oh, no. Sorry. I was thinking wipes. I was thinking wipes. If you delete your character, it's gone.
Yeah, and the reason for that, and we've talked about this before, is we want these things to be tradable. Right, and so if you trade away, you have the ability to trade away the lunar anklet, and we won't necessarily know that when you delete your character, so we just don't grant it back to you. So be really careful about the things that you delete. Anything you purchase, you know, you will always get back. but that's the only thing that's guaranteed to come back as far as the items, the purchase, the things from Founders Pack, those kinds of things.
They are tradable, so if you have a friend you can trust, you can trade it to them, delete your character, and then get them to trade it back.
Absolutely.
But you better trust your friend.
Yeah.
So if his name's Omid,
Yeah.
Trust him.
do it.
Yeah, do that.
Well, if his name's Omid, you know exactly how far to trust him.
There you go.
That's a better way of saying that.
Send me all of your lunar anklets. I'll take care of them while you delete your characters.
As soon as you've completed that very difficult quest and gotten your lunar anklet, then you can give them to Omid.
Yeah.
I suppose we need to add those giveaways to our list of things that you get to keep during wipes, though, because you do get to keep the lunar anklets.
That
Yes.
is a good point.
Yes.
Did that update happen on the website?
I'm not sure if it's actually updated yet, but it will very soon.
This is called real-time business on live.
Welcome to our meetings.
This is just like a design meeting. We think of something, we're like, oh, we didn't think about that.
Yeah.
We need to make sure we take care of that.
Yeah, so there are some updates to the FAQ related to, well, a few different things, but I think the one that you guys are going to be most interested in is wipes.
Yeah.
And do you guys want to talk?
We just cleaned up some of the wording and some of the details of the one that's going to happen in between closed beta and open beta. So go out there, take a look at it. It's really just there so that we wanted to be very clear, let you guys know ahead of time about any changes that we're making. And again, it's our transparency, right? We just, anytime we realize that something's changing, whether it be a date, one of our plans, anything like that, we want you guys to know about it as soon as we know that there needs to be a change.
And by the way, we're seeing a predictable rhythm in the game right now, in which is every time we get close to a wipe, you guys stop playing. So, just want you to realize the wipe's not going to happen right away. Go ahead and play. Because we've got a little bit before caves, and then we're going to do the claim wipe, and then after that we don't want to do a wipe until we go open beta.
Yeah.
Now we might have to because some feature might require it, but we don't want to, and we don't intend to after we do the caves.
Yeah.
Right. And so the change in the wipe policy is when we go to open beta, we're going to be wiping, what is it? We're going to be wiping, or we're going to be letting you keep
Templates,
your templates.
anything you've purchased, incling Trailblazer stuff.
And we need
Founders
to
Pack.
And giveaways.
Yeah, the Founders
And
Pack.
giveaways.
We need to add the giveaways.
Yes.
So if it's updated, that's not on there right now.
And I thank you. Unfortunately, my tablet doesn't have names. I'm fairly sure this came from Emily Taylor. I misspoke. When you delete your character, you do not get back the things that you purchased. You do get the Founders Packs things, but resources, anything else you've purchased, those are tradable in the game. So just like the Lunar Anklet, if you delete your character and come back, you won't get those back. It's only during wipes that those come back.
But when there's a wipe.
Oddly enough, they would eventually get them back.
Yes.
After the wipe.
Sure, after the wipe. But it's very important. I misspoke. Right. That's not what I meant. Purchases come back after wipes, not after deleting a character.
Yeah.
So my apologies for that, please.
Yeah, to answer chat, there is no wipe tonight. We're not talking about wipe tonight.
No wipes.
Nope.
There's going to be a wipe when we put caves in.
Which is not going to be for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
So don't worry about it right now.
You got some time, and we'll let you know ahead of time. And that wipe that happens with caves is only a claim wipe.
Yeah.
You'll keep everything about your character, everything you've collected, everything you've purchased, everything you've crafted,
all your templates,
all of that,
everything.
Everything will stay except your claims.
You just got to go plant your flag again and put stuff down.
Yeah, and that's because we have surface caves that could be right in the middle of somebody's claim.
Right.
So we have to do that to make it fair to everybody.
Yeah, so when we're talking about the update in the FAQ, it is the end of closed beta wipe. That is the question that we're updating. And the other thing to remember, and this is in the FAQ, but it's worth calling out again, is we're in closed beta, and we have a note in there that says, you know, we plan to do the caves one, and then the one during the transition, but other times it may end up being necessary. Right. You know, like the guys have said, we will work as hard as we can to avoid them, but if something comes in that requires a wipe to happen, it might happen. That's part of what being part of closed beta is all about. But again, anything you purchase in the marketplace during a wipe will be restored to you.
And anytime that if for some reason we find another reason that we need to do a wipe, we will give everybody as much notice as we can. As soon as we realize it's coming, we'll start talking about it. So right now, the ones we've talked about are the only ones we intend.
There's not going to be any surprise wipes, so stop worrying about it.
No, it's not like you're going to be like, oh, they did a server down today and all my stuff's gone.
Yes.
It's just not going to happen.
So that was exciting. Is there
Yes,
anything
it
else?
was. Thrilling. Omid?
Oh, so we have a couple of questions about water. I imagine we're going to have some questions about wipes.
Can't believe we're going to have any water questions.
Yeah. What happens if you are underground and you go into the ocean?
Then you'd be in the ocean.
Yeah, then you're underwater.
All right. Thanks, Bandit Priest.
I don't understand the question.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Yeah, I guess I think.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So if you burrow underground and you come up underneath the water. Okay, well, there's a couple of ways that you can get into the water right now. Because you can't actually just fall through the water because you're extremely buoyant and we have very, very high water tension.
Yes. Everybody can walk on water.
What was the?
You can.
I'll get water walking boots.
Yes, that was the joke in the notes that everybody has boots of water walking.
If you have a claim that's underwater, you could use your portal shard and go back to your claim, and then you'd be underwater. Or you could dig underground and then burrow underneath and come up underneath the water. And the only reason why it's not easy to get there right now is it doesn't look very good. So when you're underneath, you can't actually see the waves on top.
It's not
in
done.
certain situations. The foliage isn't down there. The flora and stuff isn't down there. It's not. It doesn't look the way we want it to be. And you don't have swimming.
Right.
So that all. By the way, swimming is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I've seen some of it, and it's just incredible. The high diving and everything is just. It's fantastic.
It's great stuff.
That's coming, and when that's all ready, then you'll be able to move through the water really easily, and we'll give you all kinds of ways to manipulate the water eventually. But for right now, yes, you can get under there, but it's your fault that you're down there.
Yep. And really, we mentioned it in the release notes as well, is we didn't want to wait, just like some of the other things, we didn't want to wait till everything was in place because these systems are so large, they encompass a lot of things. And if we waited until everything was done before we gave you the first view on it, we'd have to wait a lot longer, and it would give us less iteration time because it'd be farther in the process. By giving it to you sooner, we can get feedback on things, we can make everything better, and then we can release these in these sort of iterative phases. It's just great.
I'll just head off some of the questions about water. No, we don't expect the water turbulence to be so extremely high right at the shoreline. That's kind of silly looking.
Yeah, something we're gonna look into fixing.
We like the water shader a lot, but we might play with colors and stuff down the line.
Right.
And then also, if you dig a hole in the shore next to the water and it flows into that, you'll notice some really weird artifacting where it kind of pulls away from the wall and everything like that. No, that's not intentional. No, that's not the way we're going to leave it.
Yep.
That's just the way it is right now in this first blush version.
Right.
Cool. The next question is, how far does water creep into the land? Is it going to stop at some point? Is there something governing this?
Yes, and it doesn't creep all the way in. I mean, I believe Steve talked about this.
We had to make a funny design decision. This is a different kind of design decision.
Yeah. So it actually creates a bowl of water, right?
Yeah.
So So actually, one of the things we talked about was the fact that you can't burrow down and then come up under the water, right? Because if you burrow down, you're eventually going to hit water.
Oh, that's true, actually. I forgot about that.
So that's actually, you can't actually burrow underneath and then come up under the ocean, because you're eventually going to hit this bowl of water. You're going to hit the bottom of the world and not be able to go any farther, or you're going to hit this bowl of water.
If this is your island, then what the water does is it's out here and it comes in and it starts curving as it gets close to the shore, and then it dips down below like this and it gets really, really deep. And the reason why is we want you to be able to play in this area.
Yeah.
This is where all the caves and stuff are. If the water just went straight across, well, that wouldn't be very exciting.
Yep.
You need a scuba gear every time you went in a cave, which would be fun a little bit, but
sure.
We'll get but anyway, so that's why it does this weird dipping down thing. It's a little strange the first time you see it, but when we have the rest of the systems in, I think you'll find it's okay.
Yeah, and we'll be tuning that as well, exactly how it slopes down and those sorts of things. So,
okay.
Cool. And the last question is, please clarify about this wipe, closed beta to open beta, right? And one of the things that's going to happen is resources are going to be wiped from closed beta to open beta, and this is something that needs to happen. It happens in pretty much every game. When you go from closed beta to open beta, we have to reset that.
Well, everybody needs to start in the same spot.
Yep.
So just to put it in the most succinct fashion that we can, if you paid for it, which means anything off the exchange, anything that was Founders Pack, you're going to get to keep those things. You're going to keep all your templates.
Yep.
And you're going to keep the giveaway items that you earned during closed beta.
Yep.
And that's it. Everything else is going to be reset. So if you have any other question about what about this thing, and it wasn't one of those 3 things I listed, it's going to be reset.
Yep.
That's as simple as we can make it.
Yep.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that we made this change, right, is we were thinking that the closed beta period was going to be very, very short. Or shorter, I guess I should say.
Yep.
Now that we've seen that, because of your guys' support and because it's going really well, we're going to have a lot more time in the closed beta. We don't want a situation where on day one everyone has a bajillion of every resource that's played in the closed beta.
Yeah, it just wrecks the economy. We have no economy game at all. We need to, you've been playing the game. We're constantly changing the balance. We're constantly changing how much stuff is on the recipes. We haven't even rolled out the economy elements and everything like that. We expect those things to need to be tweaking.
Tweaked.
You know what I meant. Sometimes my mouth just goes. But we know that those things are going to be in balance and out of balance, back and forth, and everything like that. And some guy's going to end up with 50 billion of something because they exploited something at an early stage, and we just can't have that when we get to the open beta point. We have to wipe it all up and let everybody start with the real systems.
Yeah, and with all the crafting changes and the harvesting changes and the rates, and when we get caves in there and we see just how quickly we want you to be able to accumulate these things to be able to do things in the game. All of these things factor into it. And right now, it's really easy, for instance, to get copper. I'll use that just as an example. I mean, it's all over the place. It's really easy to accumulate huge amounts of it. In the end, when we get ready to move from closed beta to open beta, it may not be as prevalent. So it may be a more important part of the game, and not saying it's going to be, it's just an example. But that's one example of where it may drastically change, and we need to reset in order to make sure that everybody's playing on the same playing field, and you're not going.
Still get their head start. There's still there's still all that stuff. So this would be a good change.
And I know one thing that I'm sure has going to be a question about it is people are concerned about names, and we have talked about the fact that the naming system that we're going to have eventually is not
what you're seeing right now.
Not what you're seeing right now. So we won't have the need to have the name reservation, because if all three of us want to be Bob, all three of us can be Bob. Yep. So when that rolls out, that's one of the reasons why the character names and characters can be wiped. And your character can be wiped because we've got really cool new stuff coming with character create and different things you can do and customization. So you're going to want to make it pretty new and neat.
So the names, as Colette said, and I just want to reiterate again because it seems like there's some confusion. You will get to keep all of your templates.
Yes,
always. Your claims will be packaged up as templates.
Yes.
We will never take those away from you. So all you'll have to do is basically go get the resources for it again, and everything that you've created in closed beta will be easily available for you.
I think we should talk about wipes.
So just to close this subject out, I did look. The FAQ has been updated on landmarkthegame.com. The only thing that's missing, because we just realized it while we're on the air,
is adding in the thing about
doesn't say anything
giveaway.
about the feathers and bottles or lunar anklets or the next mystery item for next month that we haven't talked about at all yet. So yeah, we're going to add that in. I'm going to add that in right after we get off of this broadcast. But yeah, take a look. If you have further questions, you're confused, go post on the forums. We'll be talking about it there. Don't worry about it. It's not that big a change.
Yeah, as soon as we get off the air, one of the things I will post is a forum post about what the changes were, so you can see them.
All of them.
And any questions that you have, you'll be able to post in that thread.
And for reference, I think if you can clarify for me, Omid, we are actually we're keeping the old FAQ around for reference.
Yeah,
and so we're the things we're changing, you can see where they've changed, how we've transitioned, and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
And the coolest thing for me is Jen Brady, our web producer, showed me this. We actually now on the FAQ have little updated on this day things by it, so know when something is new. So
our definition of cool is different.
Yeah. I like little tags, little green tags. No, but I mean it's just cool. It was a last minute addition, but I think it makes it a little easier to find the stuff that's been changed.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Yep. So yeah, keep an eye out for that on the forums, and if you hadn't had a chance to see it yet, yesterday we did add 2 new subforums in, one for crafting and harvesting and one for claims and building, so you can post threads specific to those topics in those subforums as well. That was a new addition that was made yesterday.
Yes, just to make it a little easier.
Yeah.
A little clearer and break things out. Yeah.
So
every day a little bit better.
Yes.
It's what we aim for.
All right. Anything else from you guys? Anything new?
No, that's
last
great.
messages for the crowd?
All right, last question.
All right, last question.
Okay.
Last question.
It's a purple.
Is it? It is kind of purple.
It's purple.
Is it going to be possible to claim cave entrances?
No.
No. We talked about that before, and the answer is
Absolutely
no.
And this is one of the reasons that we're doing wipes, right?
Yep.
Is they're kind of like the hubs, right? They're sort of a protected area because everyone needs to be able to access them. It would be pretty crappy if someone, had control of it and then like blocked over it or something like that. So they're public areas.
That is exactly right.
And that's really the only like when we put in lakes at different altitudes eventually, we won't have to do a wipe then because it'll be just like oceans. People can just pick up their claim if they don't want to be in the middle of the mountain lake that suddenly appears.
At least that's our thought right now, until we get it fully defined. But
I shouldn't paint us into a corner.
Yes,
but that's the way it should be.
Right.
And
that's
caves have to be different than that because, well, nobody can own that. Like we can't allow people to have that claim and then not release it just because there's a cave entrance in the middle of it. Because other players have to be able to get there and do things.
Right. Well, it's a game mechanic. It's part of the game. Like you mentioned the hubs. Somebody mentioned the hubs. It's a protected part of the world because it's important to everybody. There are things there that everybody wants to be able to access and use.
Right.
Be able to access the caverns and get under there and find out where they're at. So those kinds of areas. And in the future, if there's something else we add that has a similar sort of mechanic on it, we would have to do something similar. It's a protected area. People can't claim it. We don't know of anything right now that's going to be that way. But if there is, it would follow the same sort of rules.
But you guys have crazy ideas, and sometimes you take them and put them into game.
We always take the crazy ideas. Sometimes we put them in games.
Right. Fair. So again, this is an ongoing process. We really appreciate you guys rolling with the punches with us and seeing, these discussions that happen sometimes live on the air, even when they're unintended. Because this is when things come up. You're part of the team.
Lunar anklets.
Lunar anklets. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
But we really appreciate you guys being along for it, continuing to tune into this, as well as put your feedback on Twitter, on the forums, and for your understanding that this is a process, and we are trying to be as transparent as humanly possible with you guys as we go through this, letting you know when these things change, taking your ideas and adding them in. So thank you for being on this journey with us. I'm feeling a little sentimental today. Speaking of which, Sunday is Mother's Day. Buy your mom a present card, founder's pack,
Buy
something.
your mom a frickin' Trailblazer pack.
Done.
Come on.
Your mom wants to spend more time with you. You're spending all your time in Landmark.
The family that builds together
stays together.
Yeah, she would want it, and she's gonna, you should be filled with shame for not having already bought her one.
Okay.
What are we gonna do? Buy her Windows Phone? Nickelback album?
And that's a wrap.
There it is. True game. Whoever said it on Twitter. There you go. All right, everybody. We will see you next time.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.